Way to Al, good morning, and how are you, faithful Captain Niner, coming to you with your captain and the coffee report for November 17th. As some of you guys know, I am on my laid off status on my job because I work a seasonal job in irrigation. Good morning, Winnie. How are you doing there, baby girl? Sorry, my puppy decided she wanted all of a sudden show up here. So I'm going to probably be doing these, whether or not I do, hopefully every day going here out forward. Or at least maybe I get a temporary job or something. We'll see how that works. But for right now, we're going to be doing our Captain and Morning show. I want to get these done a little bit earlier in the morning so that the people in the East Coast can see them earlier. Right now, it's just now hitting 6 a.m., so it's obviously 9 a.m. for them folks. Excuse me. And the idea for this was supposed to be an early morning one. So ideally, I'd record them the night before for all the stuff that had happened the previous day. So that said, let's get into yesterday. Obviously, yesterday we defeated the Arizona Cardinals. Welcome back, Brock, Ricky, and Alfred. Obviously, 2 of the 3 had a decent day. Ricky only had like 1 catch or 2 touches or whatever for like 0 yards, whatever it was. Basically, for lack of a better term, and this isn't necessarily Ricky's fault. Ricky was kind of like a non-factor yesterday. They were testing him out more than anything else. Alfred might not have shown up a whole lot on this stat sheet, but man, when you watch the game, he was plugging up holes, getting some good penetration into the backfield quite a few times. Had technically a blocked field goal that still went through. Somehow that almost never happens, but that did happen for him yesterday. How's this one look versus this? Yeah, let's go with this one. All right, so, like I said, Alfred Collins obviously making big plays, but again, obviously the big person coming back was Brock, and he had a pretty damn good return after being missing turf toe injury and everything. So on the offensive side of the ball, we had Brock completed 19 of 46, only 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. But again, we didn't have a whole lot of yards to touch. We were like 425 to like 488 or something like that. We didn't, but we were scoring quickly, and we had great field position from the defense on offense a bunch of times. For rushing, Christian McCaffrey had 13 carries for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also had another one catching the ball. A great day for CMC. Also, George Kittle with a couple other touchdowns, but we will hit him at the end of this. CMC with fewer carries. We saw more of Brian Robinson yesterday. It seems like they're doing that whole thing where they're starting to finally get these guys worked out more into some sort of a cohesive, balance more than when it's just going to be, CMC with 500 touches a game with all that kind of stuff. Then we also had George Kittle, who was the leading receiver again with 6 receptions, 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. We got Terradome in the house. How you doing, my brother? Thank you for showing much. Just doing my quick captain and coffee report for the morning. For total yards, again, we only had 281 total yards. Look at that, and then you look at the Cardinals total yards. Now, you would have expected that this would be a complete blowout for the Cardinals, but it's not. It was actually a pretty dominant game for the Niners, and don't let that 488 yards, fool you. That was us giving them yards for the most part. So let's go over to the defense. For the defense, I've said it for a few weeks now. If this team is going to win anything, this defense is not going to be dominant in any sort of way. But what this defense needs to do is make 4 to 5 big plays, big turnovers, big stops on third downs, that kind of stuff. And we got that yesterday. Obviously, we got the two interceptions by Demo and then Malik Mustafa. There's 2. We had the forced fumble by Upton Stout. 3. We had another forced fumble by Keon White. There's 4. So 4 big plays in that game kind of determined how this game went to an extent. And that's all you're going to get with this team right now. With the way this defense is built, we got no blue chippers. I know a lot of people will consider Demo a blue chipper. I do not in his current status. That doesn't mean he can't be one. But even him as the arguably the best player on this defense right now, I guess you can call him the blue chip right now because he's the best of our defense. But overall, he's not. But again, this defense is not going to dominate. We're not going to shut down anybody. We need a few big plays every game. It also helped that we had an amazing special teams. When you start your game off with a 98-yard kickoff return, almost had a touchdown by Sky Moore. That also helps. Hello. The march of the dogs into this room right now. Again, I'm laid off on my status right now, so I've got everybody home with me. Dogs are out of their kennels. Everything's going all sorts of crazy in this household anymore. They're not used to being out this early because I'm usually leaving for work. But anyways, so we need just a few good plays every game. We're not going to be shutting people down. And even with that, don't let that 488 yards and was it 450 of it coming from the passing attack of the Cardinals fool you. It wasn't that great. We basically played prevent defense and gave them 5 to 10 yards off the ball. So what? Second, start of the third quarter on because we already had a lead. So I mean, he basically were dinking and dunking for everything else. You get 5 here, 10 here, 15 here. It adds up quickly, and we're able to move the ball. But again, it wasn't anything dominant. We weren't like pressing hard or anything like that. It was basically keep everything in front of you, keep the clock running kind of situation. And that's what we did. And to Jacoby Brissett's credit, he took what they gave him. And he now holds the NFL record for the most completions in the game at 47. I mean, good game for him. Congratulations. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the game, not much. But I've seen a lot of people who are just bitching because we give up so many yards. It's like, so what? We won the game and we're playing soft ass coverage all day. Don't worry about it. All right. Coming into or actually, one of the bad points on this is some of the injuries that we did have. Obviously, Tatum Bethune suffered an ankle injury and was seen walking out in a walking boot. Kyle did say they didn't think it was much more than maybe a high ankle sprain, so maybe out a couple of weeks, which means we have Curtis Robinson who's going to come in. And I've been a big Curtis Robinson fan from the jump. I think he'll do a great job. And he played very well yesterday. In fact, he led the team with 12 solo tackles. So again, Curtis Robinson will be filling in. Can't go broke, can profit. Exactly. 100%. So I think Curtis Robinson will fill in pretty good for Tatum Bethune, who is for himself is doing a damn good job filling in for Fred Warner. So again, we are a pretty damn good middle linebacker team right now. Robert Beal exited the game with a concussion. Dogs. Eddie Pinero, Curtis, 50 Cent. I don't know why I never put those two together before on that one. Do you want to be on stream, Utu? I don't think I can pick you up. You're too big to be. You're like 80 pounds right now. Anyways, Robert Beal left with a concussion. Upton Stout left again with a shoulder stinger, but actually did come back. Curtis Robinson was evaluated for a concussion, but then was called back. Luke Gifford was checked for concussion, but came back. So we had all those injuries. Everybody came back. Everybody seems to be okay, except for obviously Teddy Bethune. But then there's the one that hurts a little bit. We got our boy Eddie P, who has been the ball of the dance, or damsel of the ball, whatever the hell that saying is. Excuse me. Since his arrival after we let go of Jake Moody and brought him in, left with a quote-unquote hamstring injury. This is what I'll say with it. We definitely need Eddie P back. He has been amazing since he's been a 49er. But one of the big things, Beal. Honestly, I've given up on Beal probably 3/4 of the way through last season. I know a lot of people talking about, he's still good, especially in the running game. Yeah. Bell of the ball. Thank you very much, Pterodome. But yeah, as far as Beal goes, I'm just like, whatever. We could do better. I think he's just a practice squad player that's going to be elevated every once in a while. But as far as Eddie P goes, if you look at the first field goal that he got blocked, it got blocked. He caught the ball. He tried to run around with it. He kind of got slammed to the ground pretty hardly. And if you look at, there was a camera that was on his face when he got up. When he got picked, I forget who it was. I think it was Pooney that picked him up. But when he got picked up, you take a look at him. He kind of has this glazed look in his eye, like he's not all there. Now that just might have been the first time he'd ever been tackled that hard. Maybe possibly ever tackled in his career as a kicker. Some of these guys can go a whole career without ever touching a ball and getting tackled because that's not what they're there for. So I'm not sure if that's the first time he's ever held a ball and been tackled, had a 300-pound man slam him to the ground, and maybe they're just like, oh, shit, even though he's been in the league for a while. Maybe that was the first, coming to Jesus kind of moment. Like, oh, damn, I play in the NFL. This is what it's like to be a quote-unquote real NFL player and get hit. I don't know if it was one of that or if he had maybe like a slight concussion because, like I said, you did see him get slammed to the ground pretty hard. He did start walking off with a little bit of a limp there, and then it got noticeably worse. And so we pulled him off. Obviously, we won't know anything until this afternoon when everybody gets their MRIs and their medical checkouts on Mondays, as we always do. So everybody, let's hope that Mr. One Eddie P is okay, and he will be, back to being the belle of the ball again. Thank you, Terradome, for that one. I could not remember that for the life of me of what it was. It's an event for the first time. Yeah. Hey, man, anybody who's ever played football, I don't give a damn. Me, I've even been laid out. The first time you get laid out and actually get your bell rung, it's like, oh, damn, this is what it's like. I mean, like I said, I was typically one of the biggest guys, if not always the biggest guy on the field. But you know what? There's other guys. You get somebody who's maybe, 200 pounds running at you full steam, and they hit you, you're going to feel it. Sorry, you just do, especially it's like a helmet to helmet. You're going to get your bell wrong. I don't give a deal what anybody says. Just because you're the biggest guy in the field don't mean you don't feel all those hits and this and that and everything. You feel them. Especially, again, if it's your first time and you're used to just dominating, all of a sudden just someone comes and just whacks you and knocks you out of your ass. Yeah, it's a little bit of a life changer there. All right, and to end the show, because we don't want to end it on a negative note, I want to give a ton of props to the best tight end in the history of the NFL. Yes, you heard me. The history of the NFL. There is not a better tight end in all of the history of the NFL, and I will fight tooth and nail with this. You will not tell me a better tight end. It's just not going to happen for me. You're not going to win that argument with me. I've been doing it since last season that I've been saying George Kittle is the best tight end in the history of the NFL. And exactly, Terradome, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face. And again, some of us have been hit, and we know what it's like. And this is like, oh, okay, time to go. Even me, I've been hit hard enough where it's like, okay, all right, that plan's out the window. Let's go to plan B. But back to Mr. Kittle. Kittle did quite a bit yesterday with only 2 touchdowns and 6 receptions for 67 yards. That one of his receptions was his 50th of his career. Congratulations, Mr. Kittle. That was also the franchise record for the most reception or touchdowns from a quarterback to a tight end at 23, surpassing Steve Young and Brent Jones. So congratulations to those two guys moving into number one as the number one tight end quarterback duo in the history of the 49ers. That also puts him at number 5 all time on the 49ers touchdown list. So George Kittle slowly moving up the all-time touchdown leader. He's never going to catch Jerry. That's just it's impossible. It's probably never going to catch T.O. either. But as far as everything else, congratulations to George. And imagine what these numbers would be like if we did not have him as basically a third tackle on the field for years at a time, what it feels like. And we could actually feature him as a primary, receiving target. Because, it sucks for him in that aspect because catching or being a receiving tight end is the second best thing he does. He's an even better blocker on the line, which is what he is known for. So again, congratulations to George Kittle on all his accomplishments, and may there be many, many more. All right, everybody, that's it for the Captain and Coffee Show. Again, it's been a while since I've done this show, so it's kind of like a little mix-up of everything. So we'll join us again tomorrow as we do this. I'm hoping to get this recorded tonight for tomorrow's stuff, even earlier. That way I can just, it'll play earlier for the people on the East Coast. So it comes out more like 7 their time, 4 o'clock in the West Coast. But hey, as long as it's uploaded, everybody gets to see it. Also, I'm probably going to be doing my highlight reaction film. Those will be back. Again, I don't have much to do on my little vacation laid off status thing right now. So I'll probably be doing that later on this afternoon, maybe later this morning, depending on how much things I get done early this morning. But until then, Pafitai te lava. Go kick today's ass, faithful. Have a good one.